Hero was a homeless dog whose past was filled with stories of cruelty. Even when a family who wanted to see him as one of their own adopted him, he didn't want to go outside. It was as if he was afraid of it. All he wanted for the rest of his life was peace and attention. When Sarah and Brandon went to the shelter, they didn't know what kind of dog they would adopt because this was their first time. Inside was full of barking and tail-wagging dogs, all wanting to draw attention to escape. But one was different. He wasn't barking or wagging his tail. He had a small rug he wouldn't let go of when surrendered to the shelter, the only thing he could sleep on. On that rug, with his tail tucked between his legs, he watched what was happening with curiosity and fear. There was something that set him apart. Sarah and Brandon were intrigued and asked if they could walk with this dog in the yard. When they got approval, Sarah took the leash and walked toward the dog. Just as she was about to put it on, they made eye contact. The dog seemed to tell Sarah his entire past in a few seconds. This affected Sarah deeply, as if the three of them needed to be there that day. Sarah thought, I think this is the lucky dog. She couldn't want to tell Brandon. They both needed to agree, and she didn't want to influence him. They walked a bit, tried to run a little, and returned. At that moment, Sarah saw Brandon's eyes welling up at the dog and smiling as he petted him. They both took a deep breath and said, "We found our friend." They immediately asked them to prepare the papers. This needed to be done today. While preparing the papers, the staff member said he wanted to talk. He told them about the dog's past. He once belonged to a homeless man living in California. The man loved him but didn't have the strength to take care of him. That's why he couldn't get his treatments done, and sometimes days would pass without the dog eating. The homeless man finally surrendered the dog to the shelter, though it was difficult, saying there might be people who could take better care of him than himself. But because the shelters there were overcrowded, they approved the dog's transfer to Canada. The story was heartbreaking, but Sarah and Brandon never backed down from their decision. They completed the dog's paperwork, and just as they were leaving, the dog suddenly started barking. Instead of going outside, he wanted to go back inside, and he was doing this with all his might. Sarah and Brandon couldn't make sense of what was happening. Just as they were thinking maybe he didn't like them, they saw the shelter worker running toward them. The worker bent down toward the dog and said, "Here you go, son. You were forgetting this," and handed the dog his small rug. Sarah immediately took it and started holding the rug. The poor dog couldn't take his eyes off the rug. It was as if it was the only thing he belonged to. The worker smiled and asked what the dog's name would be. Sarah and Brandon looked at each other and decided to name this dog, who was still standing despite all the bad conditions, Hero. Yes, now he had a name, Hero. On the way home, their eyes were constantly on Hero. He was riding in a car for the first time, and yes, he was sitting on that rug spread over the seat. Was he excited? Was he scared? Was he happy? When they got home, as Brandon was getting Hero out, he noticed his fur. Hero had a white fur patch on his back. It reminded him of something. Brandon said in astonishment, "Oh my God." The patch looked very much like the shape of the lake near their house. Sarah and Brandon hugged Hero tightly. It was as if fate had sworn to bring them together. A few days passed. They were taking Hero for walks, running, playing, but Hero seemed to be doing these by force. Walking and running seemed childish to him. The bad memories had made him mature. They tried to convince him to go outside, but over time, Hero refused completely. When they came near with the leash, he would freeze. Sometimes Brandon would carry him to the car, drive away, then try to make him walk. This upset them. They had imagined long walks and adventures, but everything went the opposite. Nothing interested Hero. He preferred his own quiet world. One day, Sarah went through a difficult situation at work. It was really bad for her. As soon as she got home, she sat on the floor and started crying silently. Between the incidents with Hero and the incidents at work, she couldn't hold herself back anymore. Hero came to Sarah's side and looked at her for a long time. Sarah looked into his eyes as if thinking, "What can you do for me?" Hero turned around and left. This affected Sarah even more. She was crying so hard when she saw Hero coming back to her side. He had something in his mouth, his rug that he never left behind. Yes, he had brought his rug to Sarah. He placed the rug in front of Sarah and sat right next to it, as if saying, "Here is your medicine." He brought Sarah the rug he had never left his entire life because he thought it would make her feel better. Sarah was suddenly shocked. She stopped crying. At that moment, she realized that Hero could feel her pain. This is what he could do. Hero was saying in his own language that she wasn't alone and that he was there with her. Sarah sat on the rug and hugged Hero tightly. From that day on, Sarah and Brandon started looking at Hero differently. Yes, maybe he didn't like walks, running, and adventures, but he was giving them something much more valuable. Later, when Sarah lost her father, Brandon and Hero became the two branches she could hold on to. Every time Sarah slept, Hero would silently take his rug in his mouth and leave it on Sarah. Hero had gotten through his hardest days with that rug, and now it was Sarah's turn. Everyone was aware now. Hero wasn't just a dog adopted from a shelter. He was like a friend who had joined the family. It wouldn't be wrong to say he was like their child. He got Sarah through grief with his silent loyalty. Even when Sarah and Brandon argued, Hero would immediately intervene. He would try to pull at their clothes with his teeth. Sometimes he would clearly indicate that he was on Sarah's side and would bark at Brandon softly, as if saying, "Don't hurt each other, that's what matters." Even today, Sarah and Brandon believe that Hero didn't come by coincidence. His past had shaped him, and that past had brought them together exactly when everyone needed it. Countless dogs like Hero are waiting silently in shelters. Each one carries a story. Maybe the miracle they're waiting for is you. And maybe they will change your life in ways you never expected. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Share your thoughts about Hero's incredible journey. Your support means everything to us.